Good morning, everyone. In the series of alumni talks, today we have Nayan Lalit. He had been a passed out of 2014 from ECE department, and he is currently working as business analyst at Deloitte US Consulting. And he has been very active in the college, was a member of so many clubs, and a very good basketball player. I found mostly we people used to find him in the basketball court, but yet he managed his academics so well and was very good in maintaining a network with the students, was always available for everyone who approached him. Very good morning, Lalit. Over to
Hey,
you,
ma'am.
Lalit.
Good morning, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Yeah. So, good morning, everyone, to the call. So, ma'am, should I get started? Is anyone else going to join?
You can start.
Yeah. So, hello, everyone. As ma'am introduced, my name is Lalit. I'm a pass out of CMRTC from 2014. Uh, I can't say how good a basketball player I am because that is others to judge. So I let that go. Yeah. So today I want to talk to people like you who are, in college as of now and who are, completing their third year or fourth year. I don't know what is the audience here, like third year or fourth year or second year. But yeah.
Yeah, we have from second year to final year, two,
Okay.
3, and final years.
2, 3, and 4. Yeah, so that's good. Yeah. So I'm here to talk about how things are at college, how better you can prepare yourself. What are the things that you need to make yourself ready for getting those campus recruitment jobs. There are various aspects. So we'll get started then. So yeah, so like everyone, I also joined college with a lot of fear and a lot of hesitation, like how is my career going to progress, and many other questions. I'm sure a lot of you might have the same. So it is a learning process. I can definitely tell you that it is not like that you join in the first year and by second year you are ready to go to a campus recruitment interview and get a job. It doesn't work that way. There are very few people who would, I say, be very ready from the first year itself, so that by the time they come to fourth year, they are almost untouchable in terms of talent and skill and readiness for market. So yeah, it is a gradual process. You would not progress at the first year itself. So the thing is, when I joined in first year, like I said, I was very fearful, like all of you were, like hesitated, like all of you were, like what is going to happen in 4 years. There is a lot to look at. There are a lot of exams, a lot of interns, lot of things to concentrate on. So the thing is, it is okay to be that is not a wrong thing to have for a student who joined in the first year. That is definitely the right thing to have, because only when you are fearful of what happens in the future, you will be motivated to perform well, to make yourself confident that yes, in spite of being fearful of this, I can do this. So that is how it thinks. So yeah, so when I joined first year, initially there were a lot of confusions, lot of classes going on. I was struggling to get a hold of things like, how am I going to complete this record? How am I going to complete this assignment? How am I going to pass in the internal exams and all? So you progress gradually. By the time I reached second year, I could get a hold of things like, what exactly do I need to do, how do I need to do it, how do I need to concentrate, how do I need to better analyze myself in terms of preparing for exams. It is a gradual process. So you progress along as you come through the engineering. Yeah. By second year, as I told, I had a grip of what I need to do, how I need to progress in the engineering course that I am currently enrolled in. And it also helps when you talk to seniors, because they are the ones who have prior experience before you. So they will help you out if you have any sort of issues in dealings with some of the subjects that you have, whether it is, and it is not just only limited to curriculum related, it should anything. Because if there is someone who is elder than you, who is probably studying in the same building as you are, if you approach them for help, most likely or not, they will be helping, because they have seen people grow, they are growing themselves. So it would be only fair enough to help others also grow and progress as they wish to progress. So that is very important. You have to keep talking to seniors. You have to understand how things are when you go as far as they are going. There are quite a bit of things you will learn from your senior, and it is also important to be connected with your classmates as well, because you might know something that they don't, they might know something that you don't. It is okay, because all you are doing are learning. It is a learning progress. So you learn from each other, you help each other progress in the careers. You move forward like that, because if you sit alone in the class and do something great, it is good for a start, but how will others know that what you have done is great? For that reason, talk to people, keep interacting with your classmates, understand what others are having and what you are lacking. In the same way, they might learn something that you don't have. So there are things that you gradually understand when you progress in the college. Yeah. So coming to focus on reaching your goals. So it is very important to stay motivated when you try to achieve something in life, whether it is campus recruitment, whether it is anything. It is very important to stay focused, because college will provide you all the resources that you have. Ultimately, it is you have to do it. Because if college can provide you 10,000 things, and if you don't choose to utilize one of them, what is the motive of the college giving 10,000 things for you? So it is very important to utilize the resources the college has provided. When we started college, there was only one building. Now there are 3 buildings. You have a big library, you have a big auditorium, you have a huge sports complex. There are resources in college. You have to use them, because you can't stay idle in your class and then come out and blame the college hasn't do it. It doesn't work that. When you haven't tried, you have no reason to blame anyone else but yourself. So utilize the resources which the college has given. You have a huge library now. There are different kinds of books available to enhance your existing knowledge. There are resources available outside the library as well. You have good faculty members who are assisting you. You have labs that are equipped well enough to provide you knowledge on what you want to do. So utilizing the resources is as much important as you being motivated to reach your goals as well. So as you progress in your career, you will understand some of these things, why they are so important. Because you will see seniors getting placed, you will see your peers getting placed, then you will have a question inside your head, like, what exactly am I doing wrong? Like, where am I going wrong? Why am I not getting selected? What is the reason for that? You will start analyzing yourself. That is where you will have the understanding to see what others are doing, and hopefully you can adopt those same things that they are doing, but in a different way. Like, everyone has their own way of preparing. Some of them prepare for their final exams 3-4 months in advance. Some of them, I can definitely vouch for that, but I have prepared just a couple of days in advance. So that is fine. It is each to his own. You can't force someone to prepare 3-4 months in advance when they are clearly knowledgeable of how things can work for them. So it is each to his own. They have their own styles. But yeah, the most important thing is you have to be prepared to do things. You can't just go out to an exam and write directly. It doesn't work that way. Even if it works, the chances of passing that exam or passing that lab internal or lab external is very sleek, because these days people are very strict in terms of monitoring how people are studying, looking how people are approaching certain exams, because those are all pointers to how you will progress in life gradually. Because it is an exam just at this moment for you, but going forward, if you are in a big company and you have a presentation to do, you are not going to succeed if you have rehearsed that presentation or you have made preparations good enough to keep everyone correctly informed of what you are trying to tell everyone. So it is very important to be prepared for all those things. Like I said, the chances of people who are going to succeed with minimal preparation are very low, and you will find the obvious reasons, whether it is external exams or lab externals. If you are not prepared enough and you have issues clearing the exam, you will know what happens there. So it is important to stay prepared for all those exams, and you can't do that overnight or just in a couple of hours. It is important to stay prepared. So yeah, so when you come to third year, I don't know how the system works now, but when I was in third year, we had a campus recruitment training that was initiated for all the people who are in 3-2. So campus recruitment training will generally help you increase your aptitude skills, increase your analytical skills, improve your command over the English language, so that, when you go to interviews, you will know how to speak, you will know how to express yourself. Because at the end of the day, when you go to interviews, you can't pretend you are someone else. You have to be straight, you have to be honest, and you have to be diplomatic, and you also have to be fluent enough to express what you are, because expressing yourself is a very major point in cracking those interviews. Or even if you don't crack an interview, the interviewer should have an impression that yes, maybe due to some reason he hasn't crack this particular interview, but I'm sure he can get through into any other company. That is the confidence you need to have in yourself, and also others should understand that, okay, this person is preparing well enough for this interview, this person is doing certain things, I also need to do things. You will be in a position to help people understand, because there are some people who might not be fluent as English as you are. When you all sit together in the campus recruitment training classes, right? So you can help each other, you can help them understand that what are the things they are doing, what are the things they can improve. At the same time, you can also improve yourself. So those are the ways how you can progress in further. So in this aspect, I would definitely say that our college has done a good thing, by starting campus recruitment training in 3-2 instead of 4-1. At that point, when people are more focused into other things in that year, like you have mini projects completed and major projects should be started, and you have subjects that you need to focus. People might be preparing for the campus interviews, people might be preparing for a gate, for any other competitive exams after college. So it is important that you start this early. So that is where this process started for me. At least I can tell you from my experience. So from 3-2, when we had that campus recruitment training, it was very helpful for me, so that I could understand what I did wrong in terms of preparing myself for interviews. What are my strengths, what are my weaknesses, what are the things that I can keep continue to do so. Because every one of you will have some sort of strengths. You will identify them when you go through these campus recruitment training. So utilize those facilities, because it is very important to understand what you are lacking. Because you can't go to an interview and then say, oh my god, I forgot this thing when I was attending the campus recruitment training. It doesn't work that way, because you can't do anything at that point, right? It is important that you use the resources that are given to you by college. There is a campus recruitment training, there are dedicated faculty, they have assignments, they have exams, sample exams, preparatory exams, which help you crack some of those interviews, and pre-interview exams that some of the companies prepare. So it is important to use that. So once you get through the campus recruitment training, then the real challenge starts. You will see how people are better equipped to compete with you in the same level that you are. Because at the campus recruitment level, every one of you will be at the same level. It is ultimately you who will go to crack it, because your faculty and your college and your campus recruitment training will only help you push to that particular job interview. They will not help you get the job, right? Ultimately, it is you and your talent and your experience in handling such interviews, and your experience in also expressing yourself properly enough to the other people, so that they understand what you are telling. Those are all very important factors. So after you complete 3-2, you will have a set of companies that are starting to come through to campus requirements. You will understand by that time that what needs to be done properly. I'll give you an example. So when I was in 4-2, I believe this was January 2014, Tech Mahindra has made an announcement that they will come to our college for a recruitment, and we got mails from the placement officer that Tech Mahindra is coming to CMR campus for recruitment, and it is a campus drive. So all the 4 colleges of CMR will be included in that. So from CMRTC, enough, you are at least 400 people or 300 people for all final years, including all branches. I'm combining all branches because that is what happened for me. All of the branches were eligible for Tech Mahindra. And you need to have 60%. So I'm competing as if that was not enough to compete with 300 students of my own college. I have to now compete with other 900 students or potentially more from other colleges in the same campus that I am in. So it is very important that you understand how to crack those interviews, because colleges have provided you the skills. So everyone is trained at that level. But ultimately, when you go to an interview or when you go to a campus recruitment preliminary exam, it is who has to write that exam and crack it. So when I went to when the preparations for that recruitment drive started, the placement officer and faculty had proposed that we will have a sample examination which will help you crack the original TechM preliminary exam. So the thing is, preliminary exam for TechM was you have 170 questions that needs to be attempted in 1 hour 40 minutes, that is 100 minutes. So not even 1 minute per question is available for you to utilize and crack those questions. So you have less than a minute for each question. So the college took this as an opportunity to help people understand that this is the level of toughness the exams would have, and prepared us in a similar standard. So I always remember when we were approaching the campus recruitment drive of Tech Mahindra, we had to go to the English labs or computer science labs, and they will arrange a questionnaire for us to crack. So it would be just a practice of the main interview that you are going to attend. So 170 questions in 100 minutes. So out of those 170 questions, there were 100 English questions and a division of aptitude, analytical, and reasoning questions in the paper. So I'll tell you what I did, because each one has their own way to crack those entrance exams. But yeah, I'll tell you what I did. Hopefully this might help some of you to crack those exams or understand how to approach such exams. But yeah, out of 170 questions, 100 are English, and I have 100 minutes to attempt all those 170 questions. So my initial target was, in 30 minutes, I'll have to complete 100 questions by any cost. There is no other way to go about it, because I should have sufficient time for each question of the other sections to analyze, right? So coming from an SSE background in 10th class, I have a very good practice of doing English papers, because for us in 10th class, English was mostly objective. 35 marks only were related to the subjective part, and 65% of the marks were objective part. So that was a good helping cause for me, so that I could utilize the same strategy that I used there to better help progress in this campus recruitment exam. So what I did was, I completed 100 English questions in 30 minutes. That would leave 70 questions and 70 minutes. So you have 1 minute for each question that you have in the reasoning, analytical, and aptitude sections. So sometimes what happens is you get more than enough time, because some of these questions are paragraph based. So if you read a paragraph, you will complete that particular section within a minute. So you have spare time to go back to some question. So these are all the things I understood when the campus provided me preparatory exams of the same interview, because that is the only time you will have a chance to rehearse for what is coming forward. Because if you have zero preparation, you have knowledge. I agree on that part. You have knowledge, but if you have zero preparation and if someone puts you directly in that exam, I would definitely guarantee that 98% of you people will definitely panic, because you don't have a practice of attending such an exam in such a sports time, right? So it is important to rehearse, and that is where the facilities of the college will help you do those things. Yeah, so once we have those preparatory exams and we crack them, we understood that this is how we need to approach the exam. So then we went to the main interviews. It was a lengthy process. We had an exam, a percentage of us qualified, others unfortunately couldn't qualify. Then we had a technical interview, then we had a final discussion, and then we were announced at the end of the night that we are selected for taken. So what is the process which will help you get to that point? You need to be prepared, you need to be motivated, because everyone will not get the job in the first campus recruitment itself, right? It is a step by step process. Some of you might qualify, some of you might not qualify, but it is important to stay motivated, because every one of you at some point of time might get a chance to crack an interview, and you have to treat it that it is the only opportunity I have, because that will help you develop a seriousness to be prepared for the job. Because you can't be laid down and relax that, okay, if I don't crack this, I have another interview, after that. Unfortunately, some of those people who thought that way ended up only attending one interview, and they had a chance of cracking it, but they couldn't crack it because they were quite relaxed in their approach. And it is not going to work if you have a relaxed approach. So these are the skills which you need to have to acquire a job in the campus recruitment, because at that point you are not competing but with just your classmates, you are competing with potentially your entire college or the entire group of CMR institutions. So it is important that when your college provides you such valuable resources to prepare, it is important to utilize. So you will acquire all those skills when you only practice, right? You can't acquire them overnight. So that is how you have to acquire such skills to get a job. Coming to the point where how much industry ready was I when I completed my engineering. So the thing is, when I am coming from an ECE background, it is expected that I get into an electronics repair related core company or any other core company which I have completed which is in line with what I have completed. But unfortunately, I had to get into an IT line because there were less opportunities, and I didn't have the high percentage that the general class toppers had. So there are various factors. So it is important to be. So yeah, again, this comes to your thought process. Like if you have the mental determination to get into an electronic related core company, you also need to have high percentages. You need to be well prepared, because those will not at all be easy. Those will definitely be tough, even tougher than the IT companies that come for recruitment, because you are getting into a core subject, right? Because you need to have the knowledge of that particular core subject. So it depends on how much percentage you are having, what line of service do you need to get into. If you are interested in getting into an IT company, yes, that is definitely a good way to enhance your knowledge. But at the same time, you will be competing parallelly with the computer science people who are originally ready for the IT company's job, because they are well equipped than you are. So you have a challenge in front of you just in your college. So imagine how the challenge would be when people from other colleges and other groups come up. So it is important to have a clarity on what kind of a service that you are going into and what are the skills you need to get into there. Yeah, and coming back to industry readiness. So all these things, when we attended in the campus recruitment, we had trainings, we had English sessions, we had group discussions kind of things planned in the campus recruitment trainings. It will all help you to express yourself, because in a college, whether you express yourself or not, you are in that part for just 4 years. You have to get your internals done, you have to complete your external exams, and then you are done after 4 years. You will no longer be answerable to your college. But when you go into a company, you are competing with potentially lakhs of employees over the same job you are getting through. So it is important to be ready to understand how the level of seriousness will be in the companies that you are going. Because in the college, you are pretty much laid back, like, okay, I have 4 years to complete. If some of you have backlogs, you might have completed them. You might have some records that need to be completed. You will ultimately find some time to get those things in. But as soon as you get into companies, you will be in for a different level of environment compared to the colleges, because in colleges you are competing just with classmates of you. in a company, you will be competing with hundreds of employees within the same building and within the same floor that you are getting. So you have to be ready. You have to be, well prepared to tackle the challenges. You have to be motivated, because after you get into a company, you might, I can tell you from an IT company perspective, because I haven't gotten into the core companies. Yeah. So after you get into an IT company, you will have, a training session which will go, you will be assessed after that training. If you clear that training, you will get into a project. You will have to wait for a project on the bench and then go into a project. Then in the project, there will be some existing people who will be working for years and years now. You have to get adjusted into a new team environment. This will all be, uh, you know uh, this will all be available to you through those trainings itself. Because in a campus recruitment training, you will be participating in group discussions, you will be participating in electives, someone will, call you to the stage and ask you to talk about a topic for a couple of minutes. That is when you know how to express yourself. Because in college, you can do any number of things and get away with it, but in a proper professional company, you have to have a certain set of guidelines to follow, because you can't, stay idle and, not follow those rules and, get into trouble. So you have a set of rules that you need to follow. So all those things, when you get into a team, you need to understand how a team functions. You need to understand your roles and responsibilities. All those things will happen when you prepare from your college itself with a serious attitude. You can't go, well prepared into a company and, you just see what people are doing and, be clueless of what is happening. That is not how it happens, right? Because in college, people are there to help you. You have your faculty members who can help you. You have your students studying with you. You can help you. You have potentially friends outside of your department who can help you. But as soon as you get into your company, it is you for you. You will not have anyone to help you, because the corporate environment is such a cruel environment that people will not hesitate to step over you to progress in their careers. So it is very important to have the right attitude to get into a company, and also be prepared enough to, understand how a company functions, how a team functions, what are your roles, how are you needed to, do those roles, what will be your progression of career in terms of uh, progressing through the levels of the company. There are different factors that are involved when you get into a company. So you have to be ready. And the most important point is, you have to be ready to learn. Because learning is something which will not stop at any point of life. You can't come out of the college and say, okay, I have learned 4 years of electronics and communication, or I've completed 4 years of engineering. This is it. I know everything. You can't go with that. Because as soon as you say, I know everything, you are done. Because that is not the way you get into companies. That is not the way you progress in life in any manner. So you can't say you know everything in life. There is always some things that you can always learn in life through anyone or any manner whatsoever. So the most important aspect that you need to have is, be ready to learn. Because every one of you will get an opportunity to, crack an interview, get into a company. But as soon as you get into your company, the job is not done. Because you have gotten into a company, that is just the first step. If your aspirations are to progress to a high level, get recognition, get recognized for your skill, the learning doesn't stop. You are just at the first step, and you need to progress step by step in the company. So learning is a very important aspect that you need to pay attention. Yeah, so that is how you will know that you are industry ready. You will know that you are ready to get into a company. You are ready to, start working under a corporate environment. That is basically how you understand. So what are the current industry standards? The current industry standards as such are, in a manner, quite diverse, because each company has their own requirement. Each company has their own set of ideals that they go by. Each company has their own style of asking their employees to work. So the industry standards are quite diverse when you compare them company by company. So it will always boil down to what kind of an attitude you possess to progress ahead in your career, because the companies will provide you every opportunity to learn. So as I said, when you are joining any company as a fresher, they will have training sessions, they will have assessments. So it is up to you to meet those industry standards, because companies are not hesitant in releasing people if they don't have people current who are meeting the industry standards, because ultimately they are running a business, right? So it is up to them to provide the right set of people to do the job that is expected from them by the clients. So it is very important to utilize all those opportunities that the company provides, because if you don't, you are completely leaving out of the company, and there is no hesitation whatsoever by any company in that case, because I have seen examples where people have been released by the company because they haven't completed their assessments, they were unable to catch the benchmark that the company has set. There are plenty of examples that I have personally seen. So it is kind of disappointing to come out of a company in such fashion. But the important point is you have to be prepared enough to get into another company. And the most important point is, when you get into a company, you should not have any sort of diversions, because if you get into a company and they have a training system for 3 months and there is an assessment at the end of the training, you have to be focused to complete the trainings properly and then complete the assessment properly, because you are fighting for your life, right? You are fighting for your life. There are tens of people who are around you, and this is most importantly not a college environment. So big, and many of you might not be readily helping you, and you should not be demotivated by that, because this is not college. This is a corporate company that is trying to hire you, because if you succeed in passing the training, you will be paid. Similarly, the other guy will be paid. So what is the difference then? The difference will be how well you are prepared to complete that training, how motivated are you to get through that training and get into a project and contribute to the company with your skills. These are all the factors that are dependent in helping you succeed those things. So yeah, so that is how an entire process flows, from the time you get into first year to attending those campus recruitment trainings, to attending those interviews, and getting into a company, and progressing in the company. So there are quite a bit of challenges in the way you progress. But yeah, definitely when you complete those challenges, you will ultimately feel proud of yourself that yes, I have struggled enough to get these things, I have achieved these things. Yes, and you will be happy enough, because those are the things you look by when you complete your colleges and you get into companies and start working. Those are the memories you cherish, because the colleges will only last for 4 years, depending upon the courses you take. If you choose to continue further studies, it will be another 2 years, but that's it. After 6 or 7 years, you have to get into some place to work. So that is how you will cherish all those memories. uh, yeah, so that is pretty much what I wanted to talk to you. I think we are still 20 minutes till end of the session. So please feel free to ask me any questions that you have regarding any aspect that you want to talk. So ma'am, is it okay that we talk to the students for questions?
Yes, yes. So, do you find any questions in the chat box?
Let me just check. Not yet at this point. So guys, it is okay to talk to me directly. If you feel you want to put it in the chat, please do so. If you want to talk directly, yeah, please continue to talk.
Yeah, anybody can ask a question. It's whatever you want to learn from your seniors. They are here to help you out.
Seriously, no questions? So is everybody ready to crack an interview now? Wow, I wish I had that confidence when I was in college. Seriously, guys, feel free to talk, because you can't stay hesitant all your life, right? When you go, when you move out, you will have questions eventually, so you have to talk out. So yeah, please feel free to talk. Okay, I
Yes,
see
somebody
someone
want to
saying
ask
good
something.
afternoon. Yeah, please. Yeah, who is this? 471. Yeah, please. Do you have any questions? Like, what do you want to talk? Okay, I think either people are hesitant to ask or people are well prepared than me when I was in college. I can at least understand that much.
Okay, tell us what is the role of internships, whether it is good, how much it will be helpful, and what will be the works that can be given to the freshers.
Okay, so coming to internships, internships will depend upon the company that the company has provided them. So the many companies provide internships in different manners. So it depends upon the work that the company provides, because at this point internships are strictly limited to just putting people in putting people as a shadow resources. Like what I mean by a shadow resource is that people will be under a team, but just as a team member. They will not be given a chance to do anything, but they will be given a chance to understand what is going on. They will be given a chance to provide their inputs. So it depends from company to company, basically. So you will only get to know when you get an internship from any company. And the thing is, when you get an internship, it is definitely a learning opportunity, because you will have an understanding of how a system works. You are still at that point working in a company, and also parallelly completing your engineering in the college. So you will have a heads up. You will have a heads up start of understanding how a structure works in a company. Like, what is the hierarchy? How are people progressing in their career? What are the types of skills that you need to have to compete with others? So you will learn them gradually. So that is how internships work. Okay, I see some
Yeah, you
questions
have
in
a
the chat.
few
Yeah,
questions.
yeah. The first question from roll number 471 is: I have heard ECE people will be put into testing domain. I can definitely tell that is wrong, because I am in a development domain. So, see, the problem is there are a lot of people that are recruited by the companies in campus recruitment. Unfortunately or fortunately, you don't have the chance to choose what kind of a domain that you need to go to, because the company will be hiring you people with a role that is already allocated to you at the back end, because you will not be allowed to understand what that role is until you complete your training. But yeah, the company will be taking people into their organization based on a certain role that they have already decided on. So that is how the system works in when you get into a company, because people will be put into different aspects of the company. People would be put into development, people would be put into testing, people would be put into support, people would be put into a completely different other domain. So it is important to stay focused that whatever my domain be, whether I like it or not. I would not say I like it or not, but yeah, if you are in a stage that you need to have a job at that point of time. I'll give you an example. At this point of time, if any of you might get a job saying, I'll give you the same example. If this person who has raised the question, he has got a job in a particular company that is putting him in a testing domain. Will you reject that opportunity, knowing that you don't have any opportunities left because of the fact that there is COVID-19, there is lockdown, there is layoffs all over the companies? Will you put that opportunity down? I don't think so, right? But yeah, it is important to take whatever opportunities you have acquired, but this is not a standard procedure that whoever is coming in from ECE background will be put into testing domain. At least you have me as an example to show that is not right? So don't be in that particular mindset that if EC people are going into an IT company, they'll be put into testing domain. No, that is not the case every time. That will happen, but that is not for sure. You don't have any control on choosing what kind of a domain you need to get into. So yeah, that is definitely not a standard procedure when you get into a company. So I hope I answered that question. So yeah, I have another question. So it says, as you mentioned in your talk, when an ECE guy is competing with CSC, can you please tell me what are those skill sets required to an ECE guy to compete with them? Can you please tell the aspects an ECE student should improve on? So the problem is, most of these campus recruitment interviews, at least from my experience, technical interviews will be just to a limited extent, because ultimately what the companies are judging is how easily you are able to express yourself. Suppose if a person from an interview asks you, you are getting into an IT company and you went into a mindset that, okay, he will ask me anything about coding, he will ask me anything about coding skills, or he will give me a question with a C program or a C++ program to solve it, and you have to solve it. That will not be the case every time. So for an example, when I went into Tech Mahindra interview after I cracked the exam, the interview was what you put on your resume. So what is your mini project? He will ask you, describe your mini project. What is your major project? How did you do this? He will ask you questions in that aspect. So it is not the case that every time when you get into an interview, when you are competing with a CSC engineering student, they will ask you only coding questions. They will ask you questions on what you have did. It is, if that is the case when you go into a company and then change a company, because at that point of time you are into a company which will have coding related aspects that you have worked on. That is the scenario where you will have coding related questions. But as far as my experience is concerned, I can tell you that companies which will be coming to campus recruitments will focus on how are your analytical skills. They will give you problems in general that will necessarily not be in any coding related aspect, but yeah, they will give you a problem in general, and understand how you analyze that problem. Because ultimately when you go into an organization, you will have to decode a certain scenario. Like if they are giving you a problem and saying how will you analyze it, that is when you start thinking, right? You will understand that how do I need to approach this situation, how do I need to understand what the potential solution is, how will I need to understand how can I get to that particular solution. So it is always important to be very, very prepared in terms of your analytical skills, because in terms of interviews, the only thing that they would check is your analytical skills, how you express yourself. I know there will be cases where there will be in terms of coding, how easily graspable you have, how easily you can grasp knowledge. That is a different aspect, because when they are pooling all departments of a college into an interview, it is obvious that everyone will not have those skills, right? So if you compare, you can't compare a CSC guy's programming skills with an ECE guy's programming skills, or with a with the civil guys programming skills, because those guys will not have programming skills. Because ultimately when you get into a company, it is important that you have the analytical skills to analyze problems. That is what is a required skill set, because they will ask you solution, they will give you a problem in general. Like if you completed your mini project, if you are in 3.2, I hope you have completed your mini project, or you are in progress, or if you are in 4.1, you might be part of your major project 4.2. So they will understand what was your approach. They will ask you to explain. So this is how it works. They will ask you to explain your project. You will explain your project. They will ask you questions in that, like, what is this? What were the problems? What were the challenges you faced? How did you overcome those challenges? So those are the skills that you need to develop when you are competing with a CSE student, because coding is an aspect which will start applying to you after you get into a company and then decide to change. Because once you get into a company and you gain knowledge after maybe a couple of years, or maybe 5 years, or maybe whatever length of term you want to serve to the company, and probably look for a change, at that point you will have to have those coding skills. Because at that point you are not a college student, you are part of an organization, and you are working with that organization in that particular coding aspect for almost whatever the years you are working in. Like it could be 3 years, it could be 2 years, it could be 5 years. You are well versed in that skill, right? So you can't go to a new company and then say, okay, I'm coming from an ECE background, I don't have programming skills. No, it doesn't work. Because you are already well versed in programming at that point. So you have to have those skills to in coding to compete with a parallel guy. But in terms of campus recruitment, the skills you should have are analyzing problems and expressing yourself, most importantly, because people will judge you. Like, by judge I don't mean in a bad way, but people will judge you whether you are suitable to join their organization based on how well you express yourself. Because when someone asks you a question, you can't stay mum and stay silent and keep looking sideways. If you don't know, if you don't know anything, you have to convey that you don't know. If you know anything, you have to give a very precise and perfect answer, that this is the problem you have asked me to solve and this is how I solve. That is how you understand what skills are required, because you will have to have those problem solving skills. Those are the most important skills you need to have when you crack any interview. So I hope I answered that question. Again, the same question has been repeated, like what should we do to compete with CSC people in any company? Yeah, so like I explained, when you go into campus recruitments, problem solving skills are very important, because they will give you a problem outside of coding. You can't run away and say, I prepared for a coding related program and you gave me an outside of programming, right? You can't say that, because problem solving skills are problem solving skills at the end of the day, whether it is technical or whether it is anything else out of technical. So you need to have those skills to crack those interviews. So I hope I answered those questions. Any other questions from people? I hope I am not boring you too much by repeating such points, because that is what I learned and that is what this session is ultimately about, to help you people understand. So yeah, so I don't see any other questions as of now. So we have still 7 minutes to go. So yeah, feel free to ask me questions, guys, if you have any.
Hello, please ask questions.
Guys, I know it is very, very tough to understand these things at this point of time, but yeah, please try to think through what you wanted to do and what you wanted to achieve in life, and try to understand where are you lacking, and probably you can at least I can expect that you have gained something out of this session, if not nothing, because there is something to learn every day. I have seen previous sessions with Sandeep and with Venu and with Harsha. There are some informative sessions that you have had. So I hope you are getting there in understanding what you need to do better and what you already have that you need to preserve with yourself. So seriously, no questions still. Only a couple of guys still now who have asked questions. I think people are ready, ma'am. I can definitely tell that, because they are so confident that they are thinking, why I know already all these things. I have a brother or I have a friend who is doing these things. I think people are ready to crack those interviews.
Okay. So no more questions.
So only 2 questions out of 40 people or
Yeah,
30
I
people.
think one more.
One more. Okay, yes. How can we survive in IT industry for a long time? That's a good question. So yeah, so like I explained previously, you need to have the desire to learn every day, because in an IT company or anywhere in life, if you stop learning, that is the day you will stop succeeding. IT companies are precisely designed in a manner that at any point of time people will ask you to jump into any other line if necessary. For example, this situation that we are in, there is a COVID-19, there is lockdown, people are losing businesses, people are losing opportunities, but people will always have chances to jump into other departments of the organization, and you have to have that readiness to join those other departments. Can you tell me how to write a best code for real-time projects to get qualified for the placement? See, real-time code is always dependent on what kind of a coding that you are doing to design your project. Because if you don't have those language skills to write a program for your particular project, it is difficult to write, right? So you have to have those technology skills in a very high level to write a program for your project, because you can't copy paste from Google, or you can't copy someone else's program, because you can copy at least inside of a college, but outside, when you go to a company, you can't copy, right? So you have to be very well versed in that particular technology to write a program. Is it possible to change our domain at any point of our career according to the trend? So it depends on how the opportunities are being presented to you. So if you are in a particular domain for a long time and you wish to change your domain, you need to be well versed in the domain that you are going to, and you need to crack those interviews, because at that point you are completely changing your track of work, right? So it is important that whatever things you have worked till now will be completely irrelevant when you change your track. So if you are changing your track, if you are going from testing to development or any other department, you need to have those skills that a developer has in that particular organization. Otherwise, it will be tough to crack, because you are competing with a more experienced guy. So that will only happen when you have the skills to compete with that experienced guy. So it is important to have those skills, because I definitely understand people might feel the need to change their skills at some point of time, but you just can't think that I need to change and okay, I will change. You need to have those skills. Otherwise, it is very difficult to change your domain. Can you say anything about how to improve coding skills? So coding skills is most dependent on how you analyze things, because if you are given a problem, there will be multiple ways of analyzing that problem. You need to have those analyzation skills. Like if a problem is given to you, you need to find multiple paths. Okay, if I go in this way, what will happen? If I go in this way, what will happen? If I go in a completely different way that no one else has done, what will happen? You need to have this analyzing skills of a problem, because when you get into a company, they will present you a scenario where you need to develop something, or you need to develop an app to help people buy a product, or you need to develop an app to book a cab or anything. You need to understand how to solve that problem, because at the end of the day, you are not building an app for yourself. You are building an app, or building a project, or building a product for potentially lakhs of people to use. So you need to have that clear vision of how to develop a program which is foolproof, which should not have any loopholes in any ways whatsoever. So you need to have this analyzation skills of how to arrive to a particular solution for a particular problem. There is not necessarily only one way to get through. There will be different ways, right? So you need to have those understanding of how to solve a problem and how many ways are there to solve it. So I hope I answered your question. Okay, so
Hello, any more questions? You please ask, because we are running short of time. It's already 12:45. I can just spare five more minutes. Okay. So no more questions. Okay, fine. That was a nice session, Lalit. You have given very good inputs to the students so that they can improve their work, and what the attitude they should have in order to crack the interviews, and what should be the preparation, and how they should approach their interviews, and how much research and how much practice they should have, and all that. That was really good from your part. People could learn a lot from you. Can you please drop down your email so that if anybody is interested in coming up to you, they'll just
yeah, I can drop you. I'll drop it in the chat box. So people on the call, so if you have any questions on tracking interviews, or if you have any questions on how to approach the campus interviews, or how to progress further in a company, if you feel like talking, you can always send me an email. I can I can try to respond to your questions in a better manner. Probably some of you don't have couldn't ask the questions in this call, but you are always free to approach me in the email address that I provided. So yeah, feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. And I hope I was informative in this session. You might have gained at least something out of this session to help your progress in your careers.
Yeah, thank you, Lalit. Thank you
Thank
for
you, man.
everything
Thank you
that
so
you
much.
have done.